INFJs are terrible, at least in the beginning, at relationships. It's like they're just going to try every flavor of the ice cream bowl. At Baskin and Robbins, they're going to just try all 31. Even if they already know that they hate, they know that they hate mint chocolate chip. They hate mint, but they like chocolate chips. But they're like, I'll give it a try. You know what I mean? And then they'll really try to stick in and eat the whole bowl of mint chocolate chip, even though they're like, bleh. But they'll be like, but I have intuition that I really, once I did like this, like mint, like gum. And so I'm going to hope that this, by the time I get to the bottom of the bowl, tastes like the mint gum. And then the next time, they might not get mint, but they might like the whole ice cream with mint, but maybe they'll get like chocolate with the mint chips. You know what I mean? Like INFJs are far too willing to try things out that are terrible for them, and they have no idea that they're terrible for them. And I think this makes sense actually, because intuition needs, going with my theory, intuition needs experiences to learn. It needs something in its memory bank. In your memory bank, this actually is making perfect sense if my theory of intuition is right. Because intuition does need you to live and grow. And so I think this is why INFJs mess up in love. Because intuition needs experiences, because we can't connect the unconnected. Like INFJs, I think, are extremely good at pattern spotting within themselves and, relating things inside of them to whatever they see, just like ENTPs are amazing at it in the external world. It's like pattern spotting all over the place. I always thought that'd be so fun to be like an analyst, find like cells of whatever, except I would hate the fucking rules of the establishment and I'd either like get fired or quit. I can't stand that. I feel like it would be such micromanaging, but it's too bad because I would love to help save people. And I am really good with digging up dirt, you know what I mean? And I got good at that for a bad reason. Shut up, Melissa, we're talking about INFJs. So I think that they're bad in love because they're really good at knowing themselves early, right? And I think that they think because of intuition, they have lots of experiences and they get to know themselves and get to know their patterns and their likes and their morals and what means things to them, and early on. But then FE over here, that's still a social kind of experiencing the world, judging function, and also a feeling function. It's not really delving within you so much. And since the INFJ needs experience, they need to date people. And they don't really know who to date. So they're probably most likely going to go for somebody pretty at first or good looking. That's what I'm going to guess. Does that make sense? Like, what's the first thing you see about somebody? If they look good or not. So I would think probably an INFJ would start off with dating something shiny or whatever. Probably like an S. I would say is going to be an INFJ's first, or maybe a bunch. I don't know, but I would think since they've never tried dating before and they don't really know what they're looking for, they're probably going to end up with an S and an ENTP too. Guilty. I think I had like 3 S's in a row. And they were all really far apart, and they were all for a really long time. And one of them is one of my best friends still. You know what I mean? He's awesome, but obviously it would never work between us. We're like brother and sister. It's really kind of weird and creepy, but it's true. It makes sense, though. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to think INFJs are going to F up with sensors a lot. Pretty sensors, or hot sensors in the beginning, because they're probably going to keep trying it and just be like, I don't understand, and so then they're going to have to get enough experiences so that they can spot the patterns between the things about the sensors that just don't quite work with the things about the INFJ, but I think that they get confused with their feeling as well, because they don't have a ton of impulses yet, intuition impulses to tell them if it's right or wrong, so they need the trial and error. So they just go, and that just makes so much sense. Doesn't it make so much sense? Because an INFJ is going to, use their SE over here to pick something pretty, you know what I mean, or hot in some way, to be like, oh, that's hot, so they're going to go for that. But they just don't have anything in their NI bank to tell them what's right or wrong. And then they don't have FI, but I think that they think this is FI, and I think they also might confuse their NI for FI sometimes. So I think that they feel more than they do for somebody. You know what I mean? I think they can convince themselves that they feel more that they do. And don't you try to convince them otherwise. Even if they tell you at some point that it's not who they're supposed to be. If you later then tell them something like they weren't meant for you or you didn't love them, oh my gosh, don't do that. If they at least look at you like, ugh, because I think that's somehow disloyal to their own memory of whoever it is, or, you know. And an INFJ is also an idealist here. We've got an NF here. INFJs are extreme idealists. This actually hurts them. Well, I think being an idealist hurts all idealists. I'm an idealist too. Really, I am. Like, I'm an empath, idealisty. Like, I'm like a weird mix now that I've got my feeling and now that I'm bringing back my childhood that was buried and shit. But I think I was a worse idealist before. I'm still freaking yelling. Because I'm a realist too, and I'm getting better at being realistic with people. You know, realistic for what I need from somebody and what I need in a relationship, and also realistic with what... Nobody's perfect, okay? All of you NFs out there need to know this. All of you NFs have got to know that you are also imperfect. Guess what? You guys are not perfect either. So even though, like, I might romanticize or idealize someone and they might fall short of it, you have to remember something. Ain't nobody in the world perfect. Nobody is going to measure up to, like, the Athena goddess up here or Hercules or whatever. Nobody. Everybody. The rose-colored glasses it's going to come off for everyone. You know, it's called, like, because I'm obsessed with relationships and man-woman dynamics, but NFs, there is a euphoria stage. Everyone is human. Everyone gets gaga eyes at first, and everyone turns into a real human afterward. And if you go into something already telling yourselves, this is a real person in front of me. And if you remind yourselves, you also have errors. You know, you're not perfect either, and they're going to have to deal with your ass. So I think all NFs need to enter relationships knowing that this is another human being, and just as they are a faulty human being, you know, they've got their things. So the other person will have them. Maybe they don't know what they are yet. But INFJs, please don't take this advice that I'm giving you to stay in a relationship that is bad for you. Because, you know, it's funny. I think INFJs probably have problems in love. Like, not only are we cuckoos, you know, like the rare, weird cuckoo, at least the girl ENTPs, but overall ENTPs, NTs in general, and INFJs we're not super... Have I really been talking for this long? Holy shit. There's not a ton of us out there. So, you know what I mean? We're already weird like that. And then I think we just have tons of problems finding the right person because of our first intuition, you know, introvert or extrovert. We have to have experiences before we can learn about what's right or what's wrong, you know, and then feeling has got to, like, surface at some point, and then this one that messes them up, and then probably when FI actually comes in, that actually gets confusing, because, you know, there's 4 more functions after this, and everybody can use them and does tap into them, you know, especially because I'm like, I got FI now, like crazy. I'm still trying to figure out how it feels. It's fascinating. It's confusing, but it's fascinating. Anyway, back to the topic, which was INFJs in love. This is really fascinating me now, thinking about this. And I can't wait to hear from you INFJs if I'm at all right about this theory. You know, like going for the sensors, probably over and over again, you know, because, you know, that you've got SE here that's looking for something pretty, and, you don't have your NI bank built up yet. And I think INFJ is I think it's either an INFJ is going to strike it right the first time by dumb luck, you know, because INFJs are going to get jaded is what's going to happen. Because they're used to being able to rely on their intuition and make the right choices. You know, this is what they rely on, and they are right about it a lot of the time. They can also get really freaking convinced they're right a lot of the time. And then it's like, oh God. Because they're not always right either. But nobody is. But these are just my off-the-cuff, you know, random observations about INFJs that I do know, have known, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? This would probably be a good time to say, I love INFJs.